What's up guys, today I'm going to be answering the question whether you should wait to buy a Tesla before Battery Investor Day or not. So before we get started, like the video down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll greatly appreciate it. Alright, let's go. So Battery Investor Day is right around the corner. It's just under 2 months away, and I really wanted to wait before making this video right after the Q2 earnings call because we'll have a better idea of what can be expected on Battery Day. Now before, we thought that Battery Day was gonna be this revolutionary thing. Maybe they're gonna have like a doubling in capacity or something extraordinary. And what I think is going to happen, it's going to be more related to manufacturing and the manufacturing side of the cells. Tesla is the single biggest consumer of batteries, and currently they don't really produce much of their cells. They buy them from Panasonic, or they're actually going to start to buy them from CATL in China. So what this Battery Day is supposed to represent is basically an advancement in cell chemistry, and ideally, of course, we'll see something that is fairly new, but I think more of it's going to be due to the manufacturing side and how they can bring the cost down to well below $100 per kilowatt hours for the pack. We usually see numbers about this for the cells, and obviously, you know, the cells are a really main component. The entire battery pack is made of cells. But the thing is, assembling a battery pack is quite a bit more expensive than just assembling the cells. That is why packs usually cost more per kilowatt hour than if you just bought out the cells. For obvious reasons. More manufacturing costs more to do so. So what we can expect is for Tesla to actually bring the cost below $100 per kilowatt hour. And that might not happen right away, that could happen eventually, but for the entire pack. And likely we're probably going to see that happen within the next year or two. I don't think it's going to be any longer than that. They're already at about $130 or something per kilowatt hour, which is already really cheap relative to most of the other manufacturers and the battery producers out there, so that's already a great step forward. So now the reason why I wanted to talk about if you should wait to buy a Tesla is because maybe Tesla might have a brand new battery pack that no one's ever heard of, and it's going to go in, say, the new Model 3 or something like that, and you really don't want to buy a Model 3 right now and then just have another brand new Model 3 and 2 months later have a better battery pack. Who knows, maybe the new Model 3 is probably the same price or just a couple $1,000s more expensive, but it having a 400-mile range? Like, you would be kind of pissed if that happened. Like, obviously if the range only went up by like, say, 10 miles, you wouldn't be as pissed or anything, but if it went up by like 80 miles, that's 80 miles of extra range. That is a substantial number, and you would gladly pay for it, especially if it only costs a couple $1,000s more. So based on that, here's what I think that's actually going to happen on Battery Day. I feel like they're not really going to have this revolutionary style battery. Obviously, they're going to show us some really cool things. I'm not doubting that. Tesla is a very innovative company. They're going to show some amazing things that we've probably never heard of, and honestly, for the people who actually understand whatever is going to happen, they're probably going to be very astonished. And plus, Elon said there's a lot to actually see, so that mainly relates to manufacturing rather than the fact that it's just doubling in capacity using the same form factor or in the same size, really. Now, another reason why I bring this question up is because the Roadster, the Cybertruck, and the Tesla Semi, just look at the range figures of those vehicles. They're insane. 500 plus miles of range or whatever, something really crazy. For the Roadster, 600 plus miles, over 1,000 kilometers of range. There's almost no way to do that with current battery technology in a very efficient way. It's going to be very expensive, and of course, the Cybertruck isn't really that expensive. It's about the same price as a base Model 3. So they recently just had a price drop, so that can make up for it, but that is not that much more expensive. Now, in the case of a Roadster, you want a sports car and you want to build it as a sports car. You want to pretty much put the best things you can put in there, make it like literally your flagship vehicle. And what I would suggest is, if you're on the fence of buying a performance Model S and you want maybe better performance for obviously more money, but better performance nonetheless, then I would suggest you wait for the Plaid powertrain, because in the Plaid powertrain they're gonna have some better battery tech most likely, or at least better motors and inverters and whatever stuff, just to get you more acceleration and better timing. Obviously, range can take a hit, but they'll have a brand new drivetrain. So unless you're in the market for that type of vehicle, I see no reason why you should actually wait to buy a Tesla. Buy one tomorrow. Why? I don't really care. Shameless plug. My referral code is always linked in the description, so if you can use that. Otherwise, don't really care, but you know, we'll both get 1,000 free supercharging miles, something like that. I think that's 1,600 kilometers of free supercharging. That's a lot. So basing it off of the Q2 earnings call we just had, I don't think we're gonna be as shocked as we're hoping for. Like, I was hoping for like a doubling in battery capacity in the same size and weight, while also reducing the cost by half and increasing the range by 2, which is basically a 2x increase in range. Essentially, that's like an 8x increase in range, which would literally take the standard range Model 3 like 1,000 miles or something crazy like that, which of course it's like magical, but even a doubling in capacity would have that effect. Now, am I saying are they never going to reach it, or batteries never going to reach it? No, batteries are actually very close to break the barrier of about $100 per kilowatt hour in the pack, and we're going to see that very soon. And I believe we're probably going to see that this year when they're manufacturing and whatever they're going to showcase and everything, because Tesla is getting in the cell business now. And obviously in the Q2 earnings call, they've actually wanted many people to actually work for Tesla and actually call up nickel mining companies for them to actually set up a more sustainable, carbon neutral or carbon negative way of actually mining the nickel, just so they can use that nickel for their battery pack. So of course they're thinking about cell production right now, and obviously they want to do it in mass quantities. And that's another reason why they're building the Gigafactory in Texas, which will have the largest land area of any of the Gigafactories so far. 2,100 acres. That's a lot of land and a lot of capability to expand in the future. Now, with battery capacity increasing so much in a relatively short period of time, what we're going to see is mass production of more cells, and what that's going to do is actually bring down the cost substantially over time. As we've seen, just 10 years ago, a battery pack for a Model S would be very expensive. It was 85 kilowatt hours and it was around $50,000 or something like that, $1,000 per kilowatt hour. So just 10 years ago, batteries costed around $1,000 per kilowatt hour. That means the Model S we have today with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack would have costed over $100,000. That is more expensive than the Model S we have today, which starts at about $70,000 or $80,000. And now in 2020, maybe in 2021, we're going to see batteries costing about $100 per kilowatt hour. Given that prices decreased so much in the past decade, we can assume that price is obviously going to decrease even further. And right now we're basically on a more like parity level where batteries are getting so cheap to the extent that they're basically gonna replace the gas engine within the next year or two. Like, literally displace the cost of the gas engine, which has actually never happened before, and that was really what people call the tipping point. And I feel like we are here. We were here for a while now, and I just think it's all up to the battery manufacturers who can't get the price low enough. And obviously in the future we're going to see prices drop even further, and they're going to get even cheaper than a gas engine. You can probably just pick up a 200-300 mile range car for like a battery pack for about $3,000, and that's going to be a real game changer. Right now the Model 3 battery pack cost about $10,000, I believe, somewhere around that ballpark. And with more efficiencies, especially with mass production of that same battery pack and the cost efficiencies associated with it, the cost can come down to such low levels, like below $5,000, where it'll basically be a no-brainer to go for, say, a Model 3 versus any other competitor for Tesla, or even a gas car. And we're seeing this today. People are doing it today, and it's just amazing. So the answer to the question if you should wait or not is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's no. You should not wait to buy one. Now obviously if there's a new model coming out literally in the next couple months, sure, which is a Plaid powertrain, unless you're gonna go for that one, I would wait. But if you're not, and you're like the average person who's probably gonna go for like a Model 3 or Model Y, which isn't really the average person, they're still generally a bit more well off than the average person. But if you are going to go for the Model 3 or Model Y and are considering it, I would not hesitate to wait. The only real disadvantage you're going to have is that you might not get one slight new feature, and it could be a big feature, could be a small feature, we don't know. As Tesla improves their products, pretty much in an evolutionary standpoint, they don't release products as in years. They don't have a 2020 Model 3, they don't have a 2019 Model 3. It's just whichever week your Model 3 is made in, that's the best Model 3 you could have ever gotten for that time period until it got updated again. And honestly, right now Teslas are literally one of the best vehicles on the market today, so I would not hesitate, because you are getting pretty much the best vehicle today. And even if you lose out on some minor feature, overall I think it's not really that big of a deal. The Model 3, or really any other Tesla, is just so ahead of the competition that it just doesn't matter what you get. You can buy a 2018, 2017 Model 3 and it'll be much better than the competition coming out today. So that's just to give you some perspective. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you got something out of it. And I want to know what you guys think. What are you guys expecting for Battery Day? Should I make another video? What are my predictions for Battery Day? You guys want to see that? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below and I'll talk to you there. Alright, until next time. Peace.